Hello and welcome to this new TouchDesigner tutorial. In this tutorial we're gonna see how to put on fire objects with the simple click of a mouse, like in this case. Let's launch our project. So that I click on the object and the object will start to burn. Let's see how I built up this project. So first of all, let's get rid of all our operators on our desktop. And let's close the palette. Also, another thing that I want to do is like going on my project, I will have it as a reference and I will double check the operations I will do because it's kind of long project with a lot of values and parameters to be set up. Another thing that I want to tell, it's like please subscribe to this channel as I've been affected by this coronavirus epidemic. I will probably gonna ask you for a donation or at least for some subscription because it's the only thing now that I can do since since I am in quarantine now and I have no idea when my activity will start again. So with that said, I will then start the project. So first of all, for this project, we are gonna be using like some geometries. I downloaded for free on some websites, so you can find your own geometries on different websites like TurboSquid or Sketchfab and so on. You need to register to this website, but this is not the topic of the tutorial. So first of all, I'm gonna add a base comp and then I will name it scene. Inside this scene, I will need like a geometry. Then I will need another geometry. I will need a camera. And then I will need another camera, and then finally I will need a light. Alright. The two inside the geometries, we can get rid of the torus inside, as also in the other one. Alright. And we can now go into the geometry. And I will import my object. In this case, I have a chair with this material. I need to display the object, so I click on render and display, and then I also will need to add a font, and the font will be already added on the color mat if you just right click on the output of our top material and then we go on material and click on font. Perfect. That said, we can also like rename the font as material and we can name the geo one as chair. Also we can go in render, write material, and we will now have like this material. We will now render the material on our geo. Also for the geo 2, we can rename it like sofa, and then we can import also the sofa. This is the sofa. Yes, and for the sofa we don't have actually any, I don't have any font, but I can just pick color here, and I will use this font. So I can name it material also in this case, and I have to render and display the sofa. In this case, it's more visible compared to the chair, but then we will see it anyway because I will change some parameters. So we go in render, we go here, we write material, and we can see that the material has changed. So this will be the cam 1 related to the chair, and this will be the cam 2 related to the sofa. And then we will have the light. Alright, so we also need a render, of course. Yes. Okay. So, and basically we have already like set part of our scene. Now we need, of course, to set the parameters of the chair. A rotation of 50 on the y-axis in my case, and a uniform scale of 0.01, but this is like my case, of course. And also I need, and now it's already visible, we can already see the chair, and then of course I can, and now I can set the parameters of my camera, which are 1.6, 0.2, and 5.5. So regarding the sofa, now we need to 2.48, 0.02, minus 35.4, 0.54. All right. So these are the positions of the chair and the sofa in my scene. Now I have to still add some values on my camera, and the values are minus 0.7 and 3. I actually don't need this camera. Sorry, I just don't need this camera. So, and now we can also create an output for this base, and we can create the flow emitter systems. So we need another base now, and this is gonna be like the flow chair, and the other one will be like the sofa, the flow sofa. All right, so we need like the flow emitter video, a camera, and a flow video top, and also ramp. Okay, so first of all, the ramp has to be applied to the material. We can go directly with our top, because, and we don't need to transform it into the top because we have new updated features for our flow emitter with the recent releases. Also, we need to transform the sphere in shape top in the Nvidia flow emitter comp, because we're gonna use the chair. So we can split our view, go back to the scene, and actually we need to create another base. We can rename these single objects. We need an input here, top, and this input is going to be actually the render. We need a constant. We need a constant top, and we need it black. Also, we need the resolution 1280 720, and we need the transform now. This transform has to be translated of 0.5 so that we can use it then for delete one of these objects. So, and we will see how. So we need a top composite. First input is the two objects, and one of the input is the black one. And in this way, you can see that we deleted one of the objects, in this case the chair. So we can add a null, and then call it sofa. And then we can also use a mirror. Flip on the x-axis. So on the other side we add another composite. And we need a top. And we need that the first input is the render, so the input, and the second one is the mirror. And in this case, we will have the chair. So we can add another null, and we have the chair. So the chair, now that we have the chair, actually, we can drag the chair in our shape operator. And then we need to set the size of our Nvidia flow emitter related to the chair. So 0.8 and 1. Perfect. And we can have a look now. Yes, and we actually see something. Let's see now the parameters for the camera. 0.16. Yes. So, and yeah, we have these other parameters for the camera. So now we have to build up a little bit a ramp. The ramp will be red on the first marker on the right and black on the first on the left. Then we will need another black here for the second one. And here we will have a yellow one. So for the yellow we need a hue of 60. Then we need another yellow around here. And we can actually double check. We have a flame. It's not perfect color, but it's fine. Also, what I would also need is like to set the scene size to 24, so that the production of fire for two objects won't be too um, heavy for our system, for our GPU. All right, so now that we have like this, we can also add an out. And we can go now in the flow sofa. We can actually copy and paste. The ramp will be the same. The object actually will be different. It will be the sofa. And then we have the flow parameters of the sim size is fine. The out is fine. What we need to change is like the parameters of the flow emitter and of the camera. Flow emitter we need 0.7, 0.8 and 1. Actually, there is a mistake here. For the flow chair, we need actually this parameter to be 1. Yes, so a little bit bigger. Okay, also we need to click on the viewer of each operator to gain some power on our GPU. Regarding the sofa flow emitter, we also need to change the parameters of the camera. It will be 0. minus 0.06, 0.02, and 1.5. Yes. All right, so here we can close. And we can add 2 level top. Okay, also we can click on the viewer. All right, now it comes the most interesting, I think, or at least for me, it was the most interesting part of the network. So here we don't need out, we need just a null actually. So we have basically what we have done so far. It's like we render the objects and we render the fire, but they are actually not connected to each other. So what else we can do? It's actually add an out. After the null, we have another null. And here we have a composite. It will be set on end. And basically what we will have here, it's like the scene, the fire on the chair, and the fire on our sofa. Very good. The only thing is like we don't want always on fire. We want to click on the object and start the fire. That's why we have the 2 level, because we need to control with the trigger the opacity of our fire. For example, now I'm controlling the opacity of the fire on the chair. So when it's 0, there is no fire. So I want that the object is not burning. And then when I click on the object, I want that the opacity will be at 1. And that means that it's burning. How can I do this? So to do so, I need to work on my scene. I will go back here and I will add that multi-touch in. This multi-touch in will be receiving messages from a container. So if you receive data from a container, this container has to be like 1280 720, and for the moment, no, and actually the look page, if we look at the look page, the background has to be the out of our final scene, the one that is burning. So now we can actually drag our container to the panel of our multi-touch scene. So second step is then add a render peak that, and this render peak will get informations from our render one, always. Yes, and then we want to select one of the rows. So, but what I want to show you actually is what's happening here, basically, huh? Like, another thing we have to set in the multi-touching is the include mouse, because otherwise we don't get the click of our mouse. So what I want to show you now, it's like what I basically did is, so I dragged my container as a panel, so whenever I move my mouse inside this container, that is the panel, I will get some data. And in particular, you can check here. So you can see the position of my mouse in the container. Okay. Also, with the render peak connected to this container, we can actually see whenever I click on one of the geos. Now I will show. We have this column here, selected path. Whenever I am on the sofa, I will have project scene sofa, and when I am on the chair and I click on the chair, I have project scene chair. So whenever I click on one of the objects, I get this information in this particular column. So for selecting this column, I just need like in this way I select my column. I just need the inside, the inner part of this table, actually. So now comes the last part of this tutorial. It's the probably most important part for what we want to achieve. That's why I want to remind you to subscribe to my channel, because it's very important to support me. I am asking you kindly, because yeah, the future here is not really clear, and also it's gonna be tough. I am like really confined in this room, um, and I'm giving this tutorial because I want to share what I know, what I can do with you. But yeah, if you think to donate something or just subscribe, it will be great and very helpful for me. So let's go to the next part. For the next part, so we need to add a dot execute. I want to save. So we go inside the dot execute. We can delete the first part here, and we can also delete the rest of our text. And also we want to then check the file, and we want to drag the select one here inside, and having like the flag on table change. Right, so what we want to say in our data execute is if operator select one, in this case, and in particular we want to say that the cell 0, 0, that is like this cell 0, 0, is reporting the text project 1 scene sofa, which is our case in this case. Then we want that the operator constant dot value we need to have, because it's the value inside the cell. We want to say that the operator constant 1 dot parameter dot value 0 equals 1. Else, and this else has to go under if. Actually, after sofa here we need this sign, we don't have to forget it. Else operator constant 1 parameter value 0 equals 0. So, and this means that if the operator, so if in this cell we can read the project 1 scene sofa, that means we basically clicked on the sofa on the screen, then we want that the operator chop constant 1 that we are gonna create has to show a value 1 for the channel that it's shown. I'm gonna create already the constant. This is the constant one. We have one channel, and this channel, we name it sofa. Let's say we name it sofa. Okay. All right. So if we click on the sofa, we will read this, and we want to see then a value 1 in this channel. If this is not written in this cell, in this select one, then we want to read the value 0 in the constant one for the channel sofa. Let's see if it works actually. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna click, we're gonna run the script, and it doesn't work. There is a mistake. And let's see which is the mistake. Let's see if this is this the mistake. Yes, so it was like double equal sign here. So basically now if I click on the chair, we see that the constant value for the sofa is 0, but if I click on the sofa, the value is 1, and also we can read here sofa. Perfect. All right. However, we also need to do the same thing when we click on the chair. So we still have to add something here, but we can just copy and paste. Actually, we can copy and paste this text, and we can add a second channel. So the second channel is gonna be named chair. It's gonna be named chair, and we copy here. If in the operator select 1, there is chair, in the operator constant 1, for the value 1, because for this value, so if we click on the chair, we want to see the value 1. Otherwise, we want to see the value 0, always for the value 1, so for the channel chair. So we can now save it. We can also double check if we click on the chair. So we have 1 corresponding for the chair, and actually inside here we see that there's written project 1 scene chair. Super. Okay, now that we have these basically these two values, they are triggered when we click on our geos, so on our object, on the chair and on the sofa. We can continue and add two selects. So these two select will be one for the chair and the other one for the sofa. And then we want to have like 2 triggers, actually 4. But no, actually we want just 2 triggers, yeah. 2 triggers. Right, these 2 triggers have same values, and the values are the attack length should be like 2 seconds, the peak level 1, and the sustain level 1. Alright, we can merge everything all together. And we can even add an out. we can split the view. Here we can actually click on the display. We don't need to see this anymore. Also, we don't need to see this background anymore, which is the render. And we can actually get out of this part of the network and then focus on the two levels. So let's see the two levels. So basically now I just want to double check here. I will drag this container a little bit here so that I can see what happens. So I want to see what happens for the triggers that I add. So when I click on the I should see a trigger happening, but it doesn't. Okay, so when I click on the sofa, I have a trigger actually. When I click on the black part, it disappears. And let's see for the chair, yeah, also for the chair. So let's see what happens. Cool, so we have a trigger now. It's not 0, 1, but it's like slowly raising to 1. And the same happens for the sofa. Pretty cool. So now I can just go and click on the active, on this viewer active. I drag the chair trigger on the opacity, and then I do the same for the sofa, post and opacity. And we notice immediately that as soon as I do that, since the values are 0 for the chair and the sofa, the fire disappeared. But if I'm gonna click on the chair now, yeah, the fire is appearing. If I click on the black part, the fire disappears, and if I click on the sofa, the fire appears. But if I click on the background, the fire disappears. So if I click on both, yeah. So that's all for our tutorial. We can just now see if we can see this when I launch the program. Yes, I can see that. I click on my... Alright. So the only thing that we have to do is like how to do this when I launch. So the last part that we have to do is like yes. So now the last part is like how can I, because the last part to complete is like this one. Now if I launch the program and I click on the couch and on the chair, I don't see the fire displayed. And why is this happening? Because if you're gonna check in the project comp and in the look page, we see that the background top is the out one. So if we see the out one is this one. So it just shows something that happens. It will just, in this out one, will just show the fire if we click on the container, so which is here in the scene. So okay, so if I click here now, and I go and I launch the program, I will see the fire. But if I click here, I won't stop the fire. So what we have to do is that the background top has to be actually this container. Actually, the default, the operator viewer has to be this container. And if this container will be the background viewer, we will then be able to set the fires on the objects. So, and this will happen also when we are in the perform mode. So now we see the fire, we click on the black background and the fire disappear. And if I click on the couch, I'm gonna have the fire. Alright, that's all for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. I think it's a very helpful um, tutorial if you want to do some installations, and of course think about that you can actually replace the mouse, like the arrows of the mouse, with a Kinect, and the click with, for example, the opening or the closing of one hand for triggering the fire. So, or you can even use a lip motion for this. So the sky is the limit for in this case. So I hope you enjoyed, and please share whatever you will do if this tutorial will inspire you to create something. Thanks for watching. See you to the next tutorial.